Hello everybody and welcome to Cheat Bashing, where we make mistakes and learn from them. I started this paint job by using my 50-50-50 mix of Agrax Earthshade, Skeleton Horde and Lamian Medium to get some grime streaks on the helmet and armor. Unfortunately, I had done a shoulder workout before this, so my hands were shaking like a motherfucker. I think the combination of Skeleton Horde plus Agrax makes a pretty universal shade for armor and bone alike. Realizing this would take way too long, I used some burnt umber to make an oil wash and slather that all over the armor. The only problem with oil washes is that it takes a bit too long to dry, so if you're on a big painting streak but paint a single model at a time like me, you're going to blue ball yourself watching paint dry. I redid the shoulder pad that I had already done and also parts of the scythe and backpack. After letting the oil wash dry for some time, I used some cotton swabs to swipe away the excess and use a brush to try and make a streaking grime effect. I really did enjoy making all these streaking rust and grime effects, and I think it really elevated the model in the end. But I think I should have done these after glazing the armor green. After all the grime streaks are done, I base all the trims of the armor black and all the other parts that have metallics on it as well. Looking at the cover art, I noticed the armor does have a greenish hue to it, and it's described in the book as well as looking like a mottled pattern of greys, blacks and greens, like lichen on an old rock. So I decided to use Plaguebearer flesh to glaze all over the armor, showing all the streaks of rust and grime underneath. Then I repeat all of that for the rest of the model, but I do recommend to be careful while wiping off the oil wash, since I managed to rub off some of the base coat in some areas. The armor came looking a bit too clean from all this, so I needed to add some more rust streaks with a brush. A lot of the areas in this particular model was a lot of back and forth, trying different steps and repeating them on top of each other. But hey, that's how you learn. Since I don't do any army painting whatsoever, opting to do singular hero models instead, I tend to fuss over every single detail, and I'm not used to doing heavy weathering or grimdark style. My personal philosophy is to paint the models with the expectation that somebody is going to pick it up and inspect it inches away from his face. The glazing on the armor was done in 2 layers, and you can really see the difference between layer 1 and 2 here. For all the metallics I use Runelord brass on the trim and lead belcher for the chainmail and the scythe. Because I want to go for the Golden Demon Award on this model, I'm gonna try freehanding for the first time and paint the symbol for the Lords of Silence on the shoulder pad and all the numbers and symbols Vorx has scribed to his armor. Doing the symbol of a finger held against the closed mouth was probably the hardest thing I have ever tried and had to do most of it off camera. But I am happy with the end result. This was really delicate work and I'm probably never gonna do it again. But it was a good learning experience and probably helped push my painting to the next level in some regard. After I get the shield-shaped symbol painted in black, I outline it with a bit of wraithbone using the smallest detail brush that I have. Getting the paint to the right consistency so it flows well off the brush and that it doesn't dry instantly made me lose more hair than a trip to the barbershop. Here is the shoulder pad with the start of the face in it, and here's the rest of the details. After a couple of fixes, it looked a lot better when I gave my eyes a bit of rest. I did try to use a 0.4mm micron pen to draw the symbols on a test piece, but it was way too thick, so I was stuck with the detail brush. I copied all the squiggly lines from the cover art and repeated that all across the armor, shoulder pads and legs. And after all that detail is done, it's time to fuck over the entire paint job by trying to do a chipping effect with a sponge. I am also going to use Nilac oxide to try and do a verdigris effect on all of the brass trim. I use the paint as is without diluting it, and it does dry a bit chalky, which is perfect for the effect. Pinning down the paint would have probably given a better gradient, but it is fine since we are gonna dry brush over it anyway. The horns on the shoulder pad and the helmet get a thin glaze of wraithbone to bring out the highlights, going brighter and brighter towards the tip. Bone is probably one of my favorite things to paint, since you can play with the tones and highlights so much, especially on Death Guard units. In general, Death Guard units are probably my favorite units overall to paint, since they have so much details and no two models are alike. Orcs are a close second though. Regular Space Marines are boring as hell in my opinion, and they don't keep my interest as long. After the Nilac oxide has dried, I go over all the edges and tops of rivets with a dry brush of Runelord brass to blend it all in. For the tentacles and fleshy knee growths, I mixed an equal parts of Emperor's Children and Kislev flesh. Then I used my 150% superwash to get some shading and a meteor flesh tone. I wasn't happy with how the scythe came out in the kit bash portion, so I decided to cut off a bit at the top and shave off the toxic bulbuses, making it look closer like the cover art once again. I paint the whole blade black and use some unthinned Abaddon black to make some more texture onto the blade. This gives a rougher surface for the rust effect, and we achieved this by dry brushing with Lead Belcher and then stippling on top of that with Morfang Brown and Troll Slayer Orange, mixing them bit by bit and doing many layers. I also glued all the parts together since I was getting close to finishing the model and didn't need access to hard to reach areas. I also did stipple a bit of rust all over the backpack. After all that is done, we just need to put a bit of Avalanche Sunset on the pustules, wash them with a bit of plague bearer flesh, and add the glow to the eye lens, and we're done. And now, it's time for the beauty shots. I forgot to film me gluing on the pouch and painting his tabard. Remember to dislike the video, report the channel, and leave a hate comment down below. Thanks.